Welcome to Larry's Library. This week I read Brindille, the hardcover. Not even sure of that pronunciation, but I think it's Brindille. My daughter gave me this book, and I believe she bought it during the Kickstarter. That's how I think it first came out as a Kickstarter book. This is put out by Magnetic Press, and it originally came out in 2021 as a Kickstarter. At the time of this shooting, when I looked this up, you can still get this directly from Magnetic Press for the full retail cover price of $29.99. Now, of course, I don't recommend you do that because that kind of makes you a chump if you pay full price, so don't do that. If you want this book, get it from a good discounter. At the time of this shooting, I found it at Cheap Graphic Novels as a special order item for $22.49. So probably that would be the way to go if you want to get this and you don't have it already. This has 188 pages. It is oversized. It's about the same height as an omnibus, but it is wider. So it's a pretty nice package. I thought that until I got about a quarter of the way in the book, and I seen some really odd page section sort of splits, like it's trying to pull away from the backing there. I don't know. I'm not sure how to describe it. You can see it in the B-roll. I highlight a couple where the sections are sort of pulling away from the backer there. I don't know what caused that. I asked my daughter if that happened in shipping, if that was like that when she got it, or did it happen while she was reading it. And she was like, I didn't see any damage. so I don't know. Maybe, I don't know how many times she read it or flipped through it, but maybe once she gifted it to me and I opened it up, maybe it happened while I was reading it. But I didn't hear any cracking or anything. It just was like that as I was reading it. Now, they don't look like they're in any danger of falling out, so it's probably fine, but visually, it's not great, to see that pull away like that. Kind of like makes you cringe, So the cover on the Kickstarter edition, the one I have, is by Ben Caldwell. But all of the rest of the art in this is by somebody, I'm going to try to get the name right. No promises. I looked for an interview on YouTube for the writer and the artist, two different guys. Could not find anything. So that's usually how I learn how to pronounce someone's name, especially if it's a less common, English word that I would already know. Then I try to figure out how to pronounce it. Failed on that. So I'm just going to take a shot here. I'll put it on the screen. Hopefully I'm not butchering it too bad. So it's written by Frederic, Brremaud. Not sure. If you know, let me know down below in the comments, will you? And the art, all of the interior art, pencils, inks, whole 9 yards, is by Federico Bertolucci. Now I probably got that one right, hopefully. But this book, I read it, enjoyed it for the most part, and I thought, well, I'm not going to review this one. It's just too hard. Because I don't review every book that I read. I really don't. I read more than some of you guys think I do. I read a lot. But I don't review all of them because sometimes it's just too difficult. Usually, if it's one of the big two omnibuses where it collects a big run, there might be 15 artists on that book. And for someone like me that believes that all art should be credited, when you show it, even if it's just a scan or you're holding it up to the thing, I think you should tell the audience who that artist is. So when an omnibus like that has an army of artists, that is a lot of names to list and a lot of names to try to learn how to pronounce. And, I'm kind of a stickler for that. I try to get people's names right if I can. Sometimes I fail, but I give it a good shot. But this doesn't have that. You have a cover artist, you have one writer, and you have one artist throughout all of the interior. So then I thought, I shouldn't wimp out on this. I should go ahead and review it because it doesn't have that army of artists problem that a lot of omnis do. Because this is an original graphic novel. So I'm going to give it a shot. When I first started reading it, I thought, well, I don't know about this art. I don't know if this art is for me because I don't typically like heavy cartoony art. That's very unrealistic and sparse. Now, you can't call any of the art in here sparse. Now, at times, it is very cartoony. Like, when you see the wolf's face, often he looks like a cartoon character, But then the backgrounds are sort of hyper realistic and super detailed and beautiful. The art in this is the star for sure. I mean, this works just as a beautiful art book. Even if there were no words, you could just flip through this and enjoy the lush, detailed, absolutely mystifying and gorgeous art. It's just something to behold, and I hope I pick the right ones for the scans here. Although I don't know that you could pick wrong ones because the art is so amazing. It just pulls you right through there. Now, this book, I think, was originally in another language. I don't know if those guys are French or Italian. I think they're French. Not sure. But so this was translated to English. And like I told my daughter when we were discussing it, because she had some strong feelings on this book. You may have seen her review it on some of the channels she's on all the time. But the ending especially is, well, I didn't get it. I really didn't get it and did not love the ending. I wish someone would explain to me what happened there. I have some ideas, and I'm not going to discuss them here because I don't want to give any spoilers away. Although the ending is up for such an interpretation, I'm not sure you could spoil it, you know. But basically, the plot involves this young girl. I'm guessing she's somewhere between 12 and 14. Not really sure of the age. But she wakes up, and she has no memory of her life. She doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know where she is, and she finds herself in this sort of weird, sort of dark fairyland. You know, she's these elf-like creatures, vaguely elf-like, take her in and help her and clothe her. So she's wearing sort of a dress made out of large flower petals. I don't know. It's strange, but it's cool. It's really something. It's very inventive. And they help her. She was unconscious. She was in some sort of battle or something, and she doesn't know what happened. She, like I said, she has amnesia, and they sort of nurse her back to health, and they try to help her. And so this story is about her trying to figure out who she is and where she came from. And she ends up being followed around by this talking wolf who sort of acts as her guide and protector. And yeah, it's just I don't know how to describe the plot. It's one of those kind of deals. It's a head scratcher, and I told my daughter, I said, you know, I'm wondering how much was lost in translation here, and her reaction was like, well, then the translator didn't do very well. And I'm like, well, you know, some languages you cannot directly translate. You know, I mean, you can try, but there's certain, I think, phrases and words and cultural norms in one language that don't really have a direct correlation in English, you know. And I think that's probably what we're seeing here. But I love the art. I love the setting. The world building in it is pretty awesome. It's like a dark fairy tale dream world, you know. I'm not sure. Still not sure about the ending. Didn't love it. Didn't understand it. But man, the art is a tour de force. I loved it. And so, all in all, I think I have to give this a 7 out of 10. The art alone carries it that far, even if the story was terrible, which I'm not going to say it's terrible. It was just hard to follow and hard to understand, especially the ending. The ending is just like nothing you've ever seen. Nothing can prepare you for that ending. But yeah, if you like the looks of it, though, you might want to pick it up on the art alone. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous book. Binding problems are a little iffy. I'm not sure if that's normal for magnetic press books or not. I have a couple, don't have a lot of those, but yeah, I did enjoy the art. And if you're an art lover, this might be enough to sell you on it. It's not an expensive book, so maybe you should pick it up if you love this art. And I hope you liked this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe so you don't miss out. I'll see you next time.